Hello and welcome back. I am so delighted to have Kristen Ballas here with us again to talk about the energy of June 2026. Uh, Kristen is an astronumerologist and is an author in the book, the second volume of Beyond the Shift called Sacred Wisdom. And today I am looking forward to the wisdom that she's bringing to us for the month of June. Kristen, welcome. Thank you again for being here.
Oh, thanks, Pamela. I love our monthly conversations. So, do you want me to just dive in or?
Yeah, just dive in. I would love to know, what does the seven energy bring for us? What do we need to look out for, and what's going to be the highlights?
Okay, I've got that for you. So the seven energy is one of two main energies at play this month because we have the seven energy month, which is when you add up the month number, which is six because it's June. So the 6 month plus the year number, which is one, gives us the seven. So that energy month changes every year. So that June is not always a seven energy month. It just happens to be in 2026. But June is also the 6th month of the year. So, as I explain to you guys every month, when we're looking at this, we want to look at the month energy, but then we also want to look at the month number because that six energy is going to be with us in every date of the month. And so when we look at the energetic grids, we're pulling that energy of the six in. And actually, because it is 2026, we have double sixes this month all month long. So that's going to be a key theme, is what that brings to us. So let me just kind of break that down. So the double sixes, those can bring things like anxiety, stress, and worry and irritability around home and work, but it can also bring peace, balance, integration, and love around those same themes. It can bring a strong sense of purpose. So it just depends if you want to, like you were asking about, dipping into the low or the high side of the numbers. Some days in this month, we actually have triple sixes. And when that happens too, we have to watch out for things like valuing other people's opinions over our own and people pleasing because of that, and trying to maintain peace at any cost, which can bring on martyrdom and victimhood. And so we have to be conscious that this energy is at play and work with it productively, which we'll talk about a little bit on how to do that. But the seven energy, which is the energy of the month this year, the seven energy brings us into that belief alignment discussion. It's about discerning what do we really value? This is where we look at what are our values now after we've come through May and had all these things revealed to us, especially on the full moon, the last day of May. So May started and ended with a full moon. And that was a lot of stuff being spotlighted in that full moon light and really being brought to light and, being needing integration, needing clearing. May brought in that five energy of the 5th month of the year. And so it was, a lot of change and then integration, change and then integration. We went through a lot of those waves. And we're actually recording this on the full moon on the 31st of May. And we're feeling this energy of really closing out those themes of the month, but needing to carry that into June, at least through into the first few days. We're still going to be feeling that like integration of what was revealed to us through this full moon, because it's a blue full moon, and it brought up a lot of the days preceding it brought up a lot of clarity around where we're doing some of the things that are the themes for June. So, where are we valuing other people's opinions over our own? Where are we putting other people's needs ahead of our own? We have a lot of days in June. The 2 and the 6 are the two numbers that are always present every day of June. So those are numbers that you have to watch out for extreme codependent behaviors.
Mhm.
And so we've been shown, leading up to this full moon in Sagittarius, where we're doing those things. And if you haven't had that revealed to you yet, watch out because it is coming. I would suggest though that most of us here are in a state of awareness such that we've probably picked up on some of these themes already. If not, June is going to highlight that even more for you and help you. It's all for our best and highest good. This full moon in Sagittarius brings hope. It brings, renewal in the sense that by letting go of some of these behaviors that have been holding us back from focusing our energies where they're most productive. This is like that 7 energy comes in this month of June and says, okay, we're going to take what we have and now we're going to make it better. So we're going to take where have you been focusing your energy and your time, and where has that not been aligned with what your soul really came here to do, what your values are, what's most important to you, and how can we fix that? That 7's going to come in and help us fix that. It's going to help us move into better alignment with our soul's trajectory and move out of that people pleasing and the, sacrificing yourself for the greater good, when it's detrimental to yourself. Because when you're being of service, you can't really be of high value service if you're sacrificing your own needs and your own well-being. So this is where this authenticity, this alignment with your truth, your inner truth, has to be there in order for you to fully show up to truly serve the greater good, whether it's your family, your friends, your workplace, your community, the world at large, the spiritual realms, whatever you want to extend that to. You can't show up fully if you're sacrificing your own basic needs, your health, your well-being, or even just your truth. When you what these sixes are saying, when we have double and triple sixes, we're looking at where are we really like letting our self go, our truth, setting it aside because, oh, we want to keep the peace. It's not worth it. It's not worth it because the cost internally is very high. And the cost to your life trajectory and what you're creating is very high. And this is an energy that says, okay, we're in this one energy year. We're here to set our intentions and our foundations for the next 9-year cycle. So these are important things that we're working with each month. This is important to, really deciding like in our hearts, okay, I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to be honest. You can do it with love, but you have to show up as you. You can't, the double sixes and triple sixes like to pretend everything is fine when it's not. And we cannot do that. And that 7 is going to come in with those double sixes and say, no, 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 you can't do this anymore. And if you find yourself catching yourself in the act, you'll pull back, you'll reassess, and you go, oh, I see where I'm doing that, or I'm doing that again. Okay, I need to, realign with where my true path is, with my truth. That's what this whole month is going to be about. It's going to be this exercise in this. And, during that exercise, it's going to be about us reassessing our beliefs about things, what we truly believe in, because we're going to be dropping our dependence on other people's beliefs. So this is going to be a really interesting month, and I'll explain why all that is happening, but I just want to let you kind of respond to that before I go any further.
Well, one of the things that I've learned from you is when there's double or triple of anything, it's amplifying the energy. And so we're sitting in this energy of having coming out of May, which for me, I've been hearing a lot of people say it was a really challenging month. And we know why with the bookends of the full moons, and then smack in the middle was the new moon. And if you're not aware of the challenges and the invitations as we're in these different energies, then we miss it and we wonder why it's hard. And so I think the gift that you give to people is that they get insights, and particularly in this forum, that they get insights through the month, before at the beginning of the month, to navigate the month, right? And so we need discernment and bringing back into the like everything is love, right? Like what's the purpose, right? It is to be able to respond with love through whatever it is that we're challenged with. And there is a lot of energy around the external environment. So people pleasing and the things that you mentioned. And so this is, to me, it feels like it's an inner exploration that we're in this month. Would you say that to be true?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because, the inner exploration. So in the divine timing cycle, only 20% of the cycle is really outer energy. It's outer output, right? And I don't mean that you don't interact with anyone during the first seven numbers of the cycle, but it is where you do a lot of the inner work. So, and then it expresses in the outer world through that. And the outer world also matches what you're doing internally. So it gives you that feedback. So in the divine timing cycle, we're in the 7, that's also in the alignment portion of the cycle. That is still inner work predominantly. It doesn't mean that we're not taking actions. We are. We are taking physical actions. 7 is a physical number. It's a physical plane number. It likes action and it actually likes learning through making mistakes. So just get out there, try it, see what works, not, super analyze everything before you ever take a step, which the 6 can get caught in. The 6 can get caught in that mental analyzing everything and not actually, become complacent and not actually do anything. But the 7's coming in here and saying, no, we're not going to get stuck in that. We're gonna do something and try it and see what works. And it's a 7 is about process improvements, right? But also, really one of the things that came to mind when you were talking is that everything that came out of 2020, this just came to me now. Everything that came out of 2020, where we started censoring each other, where, everybody started, doing the same things, the 6 feet, the masks, all the things. And you can argue whatever of why we did all that and whatever. But the whole point is like there was a lot of, most people complied with that. Some people fought against it. The people who fought against it were ostracized. There was all that kind of stuff. Then came the censorship on social media and, on the internet and, even being removed or having your account frozen if you, didn't comply with certain things, you couldn't say certain things, all of that kind of stuff, all that censorship. And I feel like 2026 is the year where we kind of like cull through all that and go, okay, there were a lot of extreme things happening there because of extreme circumstances and people's reactions to them. And now where does this like not even make sense? Because that 7, especially this month, that 7 wants to come in and it wants independence. It wants to be able to express fully. It wants to be able to express in alignment with its truth. It wants to trust itself. The 6 also wants to trust itself, but the 6 can be, like I said, a little people pleasing. The 7 comes in and it's like, no, we're not going to do that, right? So I think there's this interesting, thing happening this year that it really just came to me in this moment of, oh, yeah, that's what a lot of this is about too, is that over the past, 5 years, we've kind of been conditioned to kind of squash our truth, to tiptoe around it. Maybe I can get away with saying this, but not that, even though that's what I really want to say. And now, and this can, extend in small groups like our families and our friends and our social networks to larger scale things like where we work or what we show up with in the world, all of that. So it runs the gamut. But I think now really what's happening is we're setting all these big intentions for our lives, and the universe is coming back to us with the feedback of, okay, you can't do that anymore. You can't self-censor and you can't worry about anyone else censoring you. You have to be authentic, aligned, in integrity. And I think that theme keeps running through this whole year. And how do you do it with love? How do you do it consciously? And that's the shift from where we were when we were in 2020 and the years that followed.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are tired of the judgment that has been prevalent in these last 5, 6 years because that's all judgment, right? That's other people looking at someone else and judging them. And I know this through doing work with you, is that when we judge somebody on the outside, we're actually judging ourselves. So we need to actually go in again and look at why do I have this particular opinion about this person or the behavior? Because where does that show up in our own life? And so being able to have, again, discernment with when we're doing that, it's just a really good time to look at how that's progressed through the years. And this year is really, and particularly this month, like you're saying, it's just a really good time to go in and reassessing and realigning with our authentic self.
Absolutely. And, I think that what you were saying about like the judgment thing, right? The low side, and this is what we'll have to be careful of this month, the low side of the seven energy is thinking you know the only right way to think about something. So your belief is right, everyone else is wrong. So we do have to be mindful that there will be people expressing that. And if we catch ourselves in that, know that that is a self-made trap. You do not want to go down that road. Open your mind, be open, be flexible, be willing to see other people's perspectives, because that is the low side of that seven energy. So we could still see that coming through, but I think what's going to happen is some people will be expressing that lower side of the energy, and more people now that we've shifted consciously, even, expanding our consciousness in April and May with that five energy being present in both months now, and we've integrated some of those changes. So now it's like that's going to show up maybe in, world events and things like that. And there's going to be pushback because now people are going to say, wait a minute, this isn't right. I know we've been doing this for the past 5 years, but we're now realizing this isn't right. And thank God, right? Because it's about time. So I think that that's how it might show up, is that you're going to get examples of, wow, okay, there it is, and I can't not see this.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a lot of that, and there has been a lot of that going on this year, because that's what that one energy year brings, right? It brings all the awareness in. And then we've had these series of like the double full moon book ending last month that's just spotlighting all this stuff so we can't unsee it. Even what's happened with this current full moon that we're in today, it showed us things that we can't unsee. I know I got mine, a few days ago, and I was like, okay, I can't not see that anymore. And I'm actually really glad I've been shown that, because now I can go, okay, how can I change this so that I'm behaving differently?
Yeah.
And now in June, we're going to get to practice that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all really good. It's all really for the benefit of humanity, and on an individual and a large scale level, to change everything so that the next 9 years does not repeat the last 9 years, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, me neither. So you can't unsee that one either, too, right? That we can look back at the last 9 years and go, oh, yeah, okay, and that repeated the 9 years before that, and now we're in this opportunity for us to greet the next 9 years with a new mindset, with a new love in our heart and openness. And I think that's really true. So what else do we have to look forward to in the month of June?
So, and I just want to tap on that too, because there's a lot of overlaying themes that reinforce this whole theme of the month that we've just been talking about. So everything, all the planetary movements, all the numbers, all the significant dates, they all reinforce this. So even if we don't get to everything today, just know that these are the main things to keep in mind throughout the month, whether it's a new moon, a full moon, solstice, whatever. That's really shaping the energy of the month, and that's the bigger picture of what's happening and what's going on and why, right? So I think that's really important to understand for the whole month as a whole. But if we want to get into some specifics now, so we have our shift to the collective Jupiter season happening pretty early in the month on June 7th. So that's one of these themes that supports everything we've been talking about, because now when I'm talking about this, I am talking about numerology. So we go through 7 seasons throughout the year, and we're moving into our collective Jupiter season. So Jupiter, we're shifting from that masculine action-oriented Mars energy and self-responsibility into Jupiter themes of examining our beliefs and whether they align with our soul direction and higher purpose. Do you see the theme? So it matches the numbers that are coming in so beautifully. And that's why I say we're going to get like a super dose of this, because everything's lining up to build on each other and support the same things that I've been saying since we opened the conversation. So, and it's going to work with Uranus and Gemini to expand and evolve through shifting our beliefs. So that's kind of what's happening right now. Uranus moved into Gemini not long ago, and it's already been a ride with, again, these big awarenesses, these bolts of lightning of insight, right, into what's really not aligned and what's not working and what beliefs are garbage, right? That, oh, I didn't realize, like, I've been thinking that so long, and I thought that was so true about myself or about someone else or about the world or whatever it is. And you're finding out that that's not actually the case. So a lot to be continuing to be revealed. But we're also in Gemini season right now. So it's all about the mind, right? So that's another layer that keeps reinforcing this. So there's a lot. And then, we're moving into the month. We're in the spades right in the beginning of the month. And the spades are all about the work and our physical like health and things like that. But we're coming out of the spades portion of the year. This is the last month where we really have any, like, we only have 3 days of spades, and then next month we have the one day, and then no more spades the rest of the year. So we're shifting the focus away from these themes into more of the heart's energy as we move into the end of June starts the first heart energy. So we're shifting that, but June is still very mentally focused, especially for the first third of the 2/3 of the month until we move into Cancer. However, I will say that Mercury enters Cancer on June 1st. So tomorrow, Mercury enters Cancer. And this is important because our minds are going to be on Cancerian themes, which is home, which is family, which is security, right? So those are going to be what we're changing our beliefs about. Those are where our focuses are going to be on where we're changing beliefs. And because we're in Gemini too, same thing, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So again, these same overlapping themes, but with Mercury in Cancer, these are the things we're going to be thinking about, right? Home, family, emotional security. There's going to be a lot of focus on financial security too, because Mars is in Taurus when we come into the month. It's been in Taurus for a couple of weeks now, and Chiron enters Taurus later in the month. So those themes of security, especially around our finances and, re-examining what's important to us. Where are we spending our time? Where are we spending our energy? Because that is equates with money. And then where are we spending our money? Where our resources are, right? So people are going to be looking at all of that. And June 4th through 16th, we go into the diamond section of the month and we're focusing on that physical world. We're focusing on money and values and resources. And again, the physical body, a little bit different way than the spades do, and material stability. So, that part of the month, it's going to be, about bringing in more practicality. And this is going to be a big theme throughout the month too, of where our mind is at and where we're choosing and taking actions and reevaluating what we're doing. So, this is going to be, asking ourselves, does this choice reflect my current values and my new inner truth that I came into this month with now that I've gone through this consciousness expansion in the past 2 months and integrated it? So this is going to be further integration and harmonizing, balancing all of what we've been through so far this year. And then, what is draining me? What is draining me with the people pleasing? Because that could be financial too. That could be physical drains. That could be your physical health suffering because of the people pleasing. It could be, it could show up in so many ways, right? But these are some of the themes that are coming through.
Yeah, these are great questions. I'm going to capture the questions in the show notes because it was really important that we sit with this and we journal about it and go deeper with these questions. They're so powerful. I love that, Kristen. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. You're welcome, and thank you, and you're welcome. But this is, again, this is about too with the Jupiter, the collective Jupiter theme. Looking at our daily choices. Are they aligned with what I truly believe now? Where do my beliefs keep me small? And a lot of that can be tied into the people pleasing too, because, a lot of the people pleasing activities that we do keep us small. And, even, I don't know, I think most people tend to run toward, at least the people in the healing communities that usually tune into my forecasts, tend to go more on the people pleasing side than they do on the narcissistic side. So that's why I talk about it so much too, because it really can hold us back.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you're looking outward for love, validation, acceptance, and approval, right? When you are and I'm very familiar with being a people pleaser. I have lived in that energy where I'm putting other people's opinions before myself and asking. I mean, I just wrote about this the other day where I wrote that I used to ask people if they asked my opinion about something, I would defer to them and say, well, what do you think? Because it was safe for me. And that's why I realized I did it. It was because I wanted to feel safe. I didn't want to feel criticized. I didn't want to feel wrong. I didn't want to feel stupid. And so then it's like, okay, I'm gonna flip it around, right? And then when I knew their answer, then I felt safe responding with mine because I did have an opinion. But that is, I think, what it comes down to is feeling safe in who we are.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a Cancerian theme too, because that it's that inner safety. And are you going to stay in your shell, or are you going to come out and venture out and poke your head out and say, hey, this is actually what I think.
You're
Um,
awesome. Right.
right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, so Mercury moves retrograde at the end of the month on the full moon on the 29th, but we're going to start that pre-shadow on June 12th. And so when we look at that too and tie that in, and it's in Cancer the whole retrograde. So that is going to stay around those same themes, home, family, emotional communication, emotional mastery, right? Security, memories, belonging, old relationship patterns, like all that stuff is going to be there in this Mercury retrograde. Although, depending on where, it lands in your personal chart and where you are in your divine timing cycle, it could impact you in other ways as well. And so when you hit that June 12th point to June 29th, notice the themes that are rising up for you personally, because that is really what your personal Mercury retrograde is going to be about.
Hmm.
That's going to
Yeah.
give you the themes,
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to mainly focus around this Cancer energy, and these Cancer themes. So, and that, then we also have Venus prominent this month as well. And that is, about self-worth and how we show up in the world. And June 13th, Venus enters Leo. So that's very showy for Venus. It's about expressing your creativity in bold ways and taking bold actions and, being seen and, very like outward romantic, playful, warmth, joy, just really like embracing the beauty of life. And Venus in that, is there until July 10th. So it gives us a chance to really like tie that in with the themes of the family, the home, the security that's coming up. And how do we, like, I feel like people are going to spruce up their homes during this time. I feel like Venus also rules finances. So, like, how can we, change things up to, maybe you want to play more with your money, and increase your abundance through shifting your beliefs and perceptions around money, and how you can, really enjoy everything about it. I don't know. There's different ways that this can come through, but I do know that with all those double and triple sixes this month, one of the things that I would highly recommend is landscaping or gardening, doing something outside that's creative around your home that will beautify it, will help you move that energy so it's a positive, productive thing instead of turning into some of the more negative, people pleasing, peace at all costs, all the things that I talked about earlier, right? If you channel that energy into creative output, it will move it in the right direction for you. So it's a positive thing instead of becoming a problem. So I really think that I wanted to mention that to everyone. And then I'm just going to jump right into the new moon in Gemini again. So we're, still with the mind with the Gemini. It's a super new moon. It's the second of three in a series, 1 month after the next. So we're in the middle of this series of super new moons in Gemini, 24 degrees. So it's near the end of the sign. But on the that particular day, it's on June 14th, it's a collective Neptune day. And the cards that are associated with that day, we have the three of diamonds as the card of the day, with the ace of spades being the supportive card and three energy day. So with two threes in the mix, that's going to amplify our creativity, and how we want to express that creativity. But it can also, on the low side, be worry, stress, anxiety. It can exacerbate those double sixes, right? That's so we have to be very cautious on this super new moon of where we're focusing our mental energy and our emotional energy, so that we can use it and harness it to bring what we want, not what we don't.
Yeah.
So, especially with that three of diamonds, fear around money can happen with the three of diamonds showing up. So, how can we transform using the ace of spades and bring balance with the ace of spades wanting one foot in both worlds, the physical and the spiritual? So,
Mm.
really, it's learning to play with that manifestation energy through what you think and what you're focused on, will really, really help, to play with that this month. Because again, with Mercury in Cancer, we're going to be feeling our way through our thoughts. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we really do have to kind of marry those two together this month. And that's where, we get practical with it and start actually focusing on manifesting the things we want. This is how we communicate not only to other people, but also to the universe. Like really writing down, speaking out, what do I want, right? What am I trying to create here? And that's still in the diamonds phase. So it is about that physical world manifestation, right? Do you
Yeah.
want to comment here before I go on?
Well, first of all, that you said it was 24 degrees, which is also six. Right. So
Right.
we're seeing the six even in the degrees where we're that you mentioned. And yeah, no, I think there was something else that was coming to mind, but we'll carry on. I just want to have to interject here too that you had mentioned, with people knowing their personal forecast, and you are a beautiful soul to be able to offer that to people. And so if anyone is inclined to go a little bit deeper, I would highly recommend Kristen. She is so insightful. She's done many of my readings, and I just love that about you. But let's carry on.
Thank you. And I will touch on that for just a moment because it really does make a difference when you know where you are in your own cycle. So, I said we're entering the collective Jupiter, but what season are you in your personal cycle this year? What season are you in your lifetime cycle? And how that layers in to impact what you do with the energy and what themes are coming up for you and how you might want to work with them and what cards are associated with those um, different seasons, so that makes your chart more personal to you because obviously I can't cover that in this type of forecast. I'm doing a general forecast for everyone. But when we do get into chart readings and so forth, it makes a huge difference because then you can go, oh, wow, now I see what's going on here, right? And you understand your lessons better. You understand your gifts better. You understand how to harness the energy to move your life toward the things that you want better. And yeah, so it is really valuable to understand that. So I'm glad you brought that up. June 17th through 29th, we move into the clubs. That's the focus. Okay, so we've already been focusing all month on Gemini themes, and that's kind of similar to what the club's themes are. So we'll again be even more focused on communication, our mental thinking, our beliefs, learning, teaching, all forms of communication, written songs, through artwork, whatever how we communicate who we are. But this is, and this is coming up right after the Gemini new moon. So it's all layered in, like I said, the same things coming in. And then June 19th is when Chiron enters Taurus for 3 months before it moves back into Aries. Again, with that, with the retrograde themes of Mercury, our thoughts are going to be focused on reworking, rethinking all the RE words, right? Revisiting our beliefs, our thoughts, the way we communicate, all of that is going to come into play. June 21st is summer solstice. That happens on a Nine of Clubs day with a Nine of Spades supporting and a One energy day. So I feel like this is okay. The solstice is always a big event anyway, because it's the rebalance in the northern and southern hemisphere, right? They balance each other out, the longest day of the year versus the shortest day of the year. And we gradually shift into the next phase. So in the northern hemisphere, we're going to be moving into now walking towards the shortest day of the year. And the southern hemisphere is going to be doing the opposite, right? So we're in that shift point. And with those double nines and the one, I feel like there's a big transformation initiation energy coming on. And it's going to be a day where you want to be outside, you want to be in nature, you want to be able to look at big picture thinking because of those nines. It's visionary energy, seeing what's coming. But if you don't take time to just like ground yourself in nature and really like be with the energy, you might miss it. You might miss some big opportunities that come in. So this is a great day to spend some time outside very intentionally. This is definitely about intentionally channeling your energy and your time into just sitting with this and feeling into the shift. And then June 29th is the full moon. So the the full moon in Capricorn, but it also marks the start of Mercury retrograde and Jupiter entering Leo. So then you're going to have Venus in Leo and Jupiter in Leo, which is really going to expand that energy of being bold out there, creatively expressing. And the other thing I think about the Leo is, I feel like people are going to be more because this whole month is so much about relationships. I feel like people are going to be more out there and willing to circulate, and maybe more people will start dating that maybe haven't been for a while, or seeking out new friendships, seeking out new relationships. I feel like there's going to be a lot more social energy going on with all of these energies with the focus on the relationships, and then Jupiter and Venus in Leo. So but anyway, back to the full moon. The full moon is in Capricorn at 8 degrees, so that is about integrity, responsibility, plans, structures, goals, personal power, authority, and momentum, right? And abundance. And it's on the collective Mercury day. So again, it's the same theme of where is your mind at? What do you believe? What are you thinking about? And Jupiter moving into Leo is like, are you going to really embrace your personal strength and who you are, your authority in whatever it is that you are really good at. But this day also occurs on an Ace of Clubs, Three of Hearts, Nine energy day. So there are some challenging aspects to this full moon in that it's kind of contradictory. The Capricorn in the 8 degrees is kind of contradictory a little bit with the Ace of Clubs, Three of Hearts, Nine energy. And in astrology terms, Neptune is squaring this full moon. So and Neptune's in Aries. So it's like I'm going to talk about it from a numerology standpoint. So the Ace of Clubs brings new information. So the full moon is, showing a spotlight on something that's bringing in new information, ideas, new mental beginnings because of that, Mercury energy being so intense that day, being the Mercury day and all of the other things going on. But it's also Ace of Clubs is a semi-fixed card. So it can be stubborn. It can be stuck in its own mindset. So again, we're being asked to nine energy day, be flexible, be open, go with the flow, know that you don't know it all. And then that Three of Hearts that's coming in as the supporting card can also bring in confusion or like a feeling like, unsure of yourself. So you might feel like I'm not really sure what to do, or, maybe I feel a little bit insecure or just kind of questioning, okay, wait a minute, I thought I knew where I was going and now I don't again. Sit with it and just let it unfold. Don't get caught up in that piece of it. Allow. I think with that nine, that's a big theme. Just allow. There might be some information that comes in through a conversation or some sort of communication that might disrupt your plans, especially around work. Especially because that's a Monday, so it could be, about work in Capricorn. And just trust your intuition over your ego. I think that's the most important thing because that Ace of Clubs can bring in that ego side. So to be conscious of that and, go, wait, what feels intuitively right to me here? Not what is my ego saying it has to be. The more flexible you can be and, open to changes, um, will actually help you create a better plan. So I think that's really important about that day. And then June 30th, we enter the hearts. So we start, that basically signals the start of the heart season for the year, where now each month we're going to have a few more days with heart energy, which in numerology, the hearts represent exactly what you would think: relationships, love, really developing our emotional intelligence, our emotional maturity. So we shift from the focus of the spades now into the hearts portion of the year. So we'll start seeing more themes like that expand as we continue throughout the remainder of 2026.
Wonderful. Thank you. This is just a beautiful reflection for what's coming and the changes and the choices that we make too. That was one of the things that came up when you spoke about the three of hearts. It's like we have these choices that will be in front of us, and how do we sit with that and do and make the changes that we choose, right? So yeah, this was beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to finish off the conversation with? No? Okay.
No, just wanted to know what your biggest takeaway is maybe from the conversation.
Oh boy. I think that it's been, I think, beliefs, right? This, like, I was asked a question this morning in one of my communities on school. They asked about where our beliefs come from, what are our beliefs, and what do we do, what do we think about them, right? What are our beliefs, and where did they come from, and how do we shift them, and have we shifted them? And so belief has already come into my conversation today. On the last day of the month. And I
Yeah.
really think that that's going to be something that I am personally am going to pay a lot of attention to in the month of June. And so I think that's my biggest takeaway, is that beliefs are coming around for me again.
To move fast once we hit July. They may move a little fast this month because of the presence of the seven, but they're really going to be fast in July and August. So if you are going to take a vacation, I would say this: June is the month to do that, because once July and August hit, it's not going to feel as relaxing as maybe June would. So
I love this time of year because it's like, oh, we've got the summer coming. Like, this is just my favorite part, because it does go by fast. So to be able to be in gratitude now can help just be really present through the months and the time that we have.
I
It's
love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so very much. And I will, and I'm just so grateful for you to share your wisdom here with their communities. Thanks.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. I love to share it when I can. So
Yeah. Thank
thank
you.
you.